Welcome to Learned and Go-Go, the podcast. Hey, my name is Sydnee. I am your host, and I am also the author of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, How a Preacher's Daughter Pole Danced Her Way to Finding Her True Self. I am super excited to be here with you guys on a Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's where you can find me. I'm doing a pre-recorded show. This will either be used for the second week of my surgery recovery, or if I'm feeling well enough to do a live show, then I'm going to tuck this away for someday when maybe I'm just not feeling well or have a commitment that is in this time slot. So I want to make sure that I am joining you guys every week. It is so fun. I miss when I'm not doing the lives. I miss talking to you guys in the comments because that is my favorite. But this week I have something special in mind because I took your advice. But before that, we all know I'm horrible at self-promotion. So if you have not yet gotten a copy of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, you can get your copy at learnedingogo.com. It is available in paperback, and it is a beefy book. You know, it's worth every penny because there's a lot of content. Or it's also available in ebook. You can get it on Kindle or in a non-Kindle e-reader, and all of those links are on my website, learnedingogo.com. So check it out. And if you get a personalized copy, I don't think I have it in here, but here's one. You get a super cool bookmark with an easy peasy QR code. So if you're sitting there reading it and somebody goes, "Where can I get one?" You go, scan the QR code, easy peasy. Get the bookmark, you get free shipping in the United States, you get free personalization, and you also get a free compilation playlist, which is comprised of songs that I mentioned in the book, songs I used to dance to, and songs that I am currently using for dance workouts, which are on hold at the moment, but hopefully I will be getting back into soon. So that is everything I need to know I learned in Go-Go. Okay, now I'm back from self-promotion land. So we were talking recently and I asked for ideas for an upcoming show, and you guys did not disappoint. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I was trying to figure out the best way to decide from the list. I have my handwritten list, and then when my hand stopped working, I put stuff in a Google Doc, and I took all of that and created, let's see, I don't usually do this. So, yes, I created Wheel of Stuff. So it says click to spin, and we'll see what we're going to talk about first. Favorite dinosaur and why? Oh, cool. So I can remove that from, this is neat. Oh, this is fun. Okay. So when I think of dinosaurs, I love the t-shirts and the posters and all of the T-Rex when he's like trying to give a hug or like trying to make the bed. I think that's adorable. I've also always loved a Triceratops. Like something about that, the whole like the three horns and everything. I have Squish. I guess Squish is my favorite dinosaur. This is Squish. So he's my buddy. And so I got a little version of him that's on a keychain. That's Squish Jr. But then I got the Triceratops version, and he's real big, and his name's Twish. So we have Squish and Twish and Squish Jr. But I think Squish and Twish, they're my favorite dinosaurs. He's so cute. Look at his little. All right, Squish is joining me for today's program. Here you go. Yeah, I think that would answer the favorite dinosaur question. Okay, back to Wheel of Stuff. the next topic. All right. I knew I was going to applaud. 3 drinks to serve at a speakeasy. So I did a haunted speakeasy tour with Dave in Nashville, and it was really cool because we would go to like the secret places, and they'd have all these like these menus of really cool drinks and all, but a lot of them weren't my jam. Like I think sometimes you can get too creative, and um a lot of things I'm not that into. Like I don't do the brown liquors, I don't do bourbon, I don't do tequila. Um I don't even really like regular rum. I was a Captain Morgan drinker for years and years and years and years. But now I'm vodka and sparkling water when I drink. That's pretty much what I like to drink. That being said, I would want to have a successful speakeasy. So I would think an old fashioned is something that you would want at a speakeasy. And they're doing like different variations of it. I think they're doing like a smoked kind. Um, I'm not sure. Like I've heard of different variations on just an old fashioned. Because usually an old fashioned, a Manhattan, things like that, you kind of picture. When I hear speakeasy, I think gin, which I threw up gin when I was 16, I think, and I've never touched it since. The smell of it makes me want to barf. But speakeasy makes me think of like Chicago, the musical. Like to me, that's the vibe I'm getting. So to me, you'd have to have something gin, um, like definitely gin and tonics, things like that. And again, you can make them as fancy or as elevated as you want. Like sometimes they're making these drinks with like different herbs in them, or like different, not even just fruit, but like it's even higher, more higher elevated than that. Um so I would say a gin, uh old fashioned Manhattan kind of thing, and then like just a vodka martini, like is a classic. Like if you're gonna do a speakeasy, you want it to be fun and interesting. And when we went, it was funny because the guy asked if there were any whiskey drinkers in our crew, and we were all kind of like, nah. So he was like, okay, because usually we go to a place that has whiskey flights. He's like, we won't do that. We'll go somewhere else. So we went in this building, and he's like, what we're gonna do is you're gonna go down the stairs, and to your right is this amazing restaurant. They have the best, like whatever food and everything. We're not going there. We're going left. He's like, and you're going to come up to a door that says storage, and we're going in there. And then you walk through the storage closet, and there's another door. And when you open that door, it's like a secret bar. And it was so cool. Like that's the kind of speakeasy that I'm picturing. The drink I ordered from there, I didn't care for. And like we were, I didn't say anything when we were leaving. I was just like, I really, like I'm sure there's nothing wrong with how you made it. It's just not my preference. And the bartender was like, oh, I can make you something. I said, no, we're leaving now. But thank you. Because I didn't want her to have to do that. But they had all kinds of really interesting drinks. And I'm trying to remember. Oh, they were at the one haunted bar that we went to, they had green tea shots, and they were so good. I think they were green tea and white tea, and they were just like a shot. And Dave and I bought them for everybody. Yeah, I think there was 5 of us on the tour, so we got everybody a shot, and it was really yummy. And that's something different. Like I don't see doing white tea shots all the time. I don't even know what the liquor was in them, but those were really good. So yeah, keeping it like the Chicago the musical vibe. I would keep it clean, but you can always add those little extras to make it your own. Cool. All right, let's see what our next topic will be. We have favorite toys of the kid. I love the little person that goes, "Whoa!" Okay, favorite toys as a kid. So I grew up in the 80s. So Smurfs, Strawberry Shortcake, Barbie, G.I. Joe, He Man, all those kinds of things. When I was real little, I loved my big wheel. And I'm sure everybody who had a big wheel as a kid, you flipped it over so you could turn the wheel with your hands. And for some reason, we decided that that was making ice cream. I think we were just very ice cream forward as children. But I remember the tire had like a little hole in it. It was a plastic one. So we would put dirt and like little pebbles in there. So when it's spun around, you could hear it in there and we were making ice cream. I remember that. I had a doll named Nicole, and she was a baby doll. She had the hard plastic face and hands and feet, but the soft body. And her eyes would close when you laid her down. And if you picked her up, she would cry. And I loved that doll, but I had her when I was a toddler, and I used to carry her around by her hair. And I remember one Christmas, Santa took Nicole back to fix her hair. And my mom, obviously there shouldn't be children watching this show. So if there are, just out of the room for this part. Um, my mom sat there and completely redid this doll's hair, like, because it had the little holes in the head that you have to like poke every one full of the hair, and she just meticulously fixed this doll for me that I loved so much. I used to have like a bassinet for her, and I have a cradle still up in the attic that my papa made, a wooden cradle. And I had a high chair I had like all the things, to play baby doll with. And I had those bottles for her that when you turned them upside down, it looked like the orange juice, so the milk was getting drank out of it. And I thought those things were so cool. So she was definitely a favorite. I had one of those record players that played the plastic records. I remember that, and I loved that a lot. I'm trying to think what else, like as a little kid. As a little bit bigger kid, I had one of those Barbie heads that you could do the makeup and the hair. It was just like the head and shoulders. And my older brother decided to create a haunted house because his room was up in the attic where we lived at the time, and there were bats that lived up there too. So it was always kind of spooky, up in his room. So he wanted to make a haunted house one year for Halloween, and he borrowed my Barbie head and like put all the fake blood and all and put like this giant nail in the hole in the top of her head. Well, it fell in and we could never get it out. So if you like shook her head, you could hear this nail. It was just like flying around in her head. I love that too. And I had my first slumber party was in first grade, and I got the one thing that I wanted so bad, and I got her, and I couldn't believe it was a Western Barbie. And she had the button on her back that if you pushed it, she would wink. Yeah, the one eye with the blue eyeshadow would be like, eh. And the one time I pushed it and it didn't open back up, so I used to have to like flip her eye to get it. I don't know what happened. I might have left her in the car and it melted or something. But I had some cool toys growing up. We had like the viewfinders. I remember my younger brother had um it was a excuse me, it was a flashlight. I had to get some water. But you could put like slides on it, and it was Spider-Man. And I specifically remember the little Spider-Man head, and it said TM next to it, and I used to think that was pretty cool. I don't know why I love the trademark thing, but I vividly remember that. There were a lot of fun toys growing up, and I'm glad that I grew up in a time where, like, yeah, Atari was getting popular, but it wasn't like growing up with the internet and with social media. Like, we had toys that were physical things that you could use your imagination for. I used to love the action figures and like putting them places with the little peg that went in the hole in their foot, and you could play with them, make up stories, and create your own adventures. That was always so much fun. So that's what's hitting me right now is like favorite toys as a kid. I think I may still have my strawberry shortcake somewhere. There's a box of things that I want to find because I want to put my old toys and stuff up in here. The only thing I have here is Trailer Trash Barbie up on my shelf. I don't really have any of my toys from being a kid in here, I don't think. But I know somewhere in a box I still have my gem doll. And up until a couple of years ago, her earrings still blinked. So I want to know what batteries they put in the gem and the holograms dolls that their earrings will literally blink for like probably 40 years. That's insanity. But I'm sorry, I squish. But I know I have gem. I'm pretty sure I might have strawberry shortcake and orange marmalade. And I might still have some of my Smurf figurines because I had several of those. I'm not going to say a bunch, but I had several. So I'd like to find where all of those things are because they were really cool toys. And now that I have the Polecast room, I can display them. And maybe I might still play with them. You don't know. Okay. And all of these questions, I should have said this with the first question, but tell me your favorite dinosaur. Tell me what 3 drinks you would have in a speakeasy. And tell me about your favorite toys from growing up in the comments. And with all of these questions, as I'm answering them, please put them in the comments because I will definitely like to come back and check and see what your answers are because I think that would be fun getting to know you. Okay. Let's get another one and another one. Okay. Let me get the applause. Funny enough, I was thinking about this question earlier today because it was one of the more creative questions that was asked. So the question is, if I was in the labyrinth, would I stay with Jareth or would I take Toby back home, the baby? So I was thinking about this. And as the meme and the Cheerios commercial goes, why not both? Here's my thought process. The parents were neglectful, in my opinion. They kept sticking Sarah with the baby. Maybe it was just this one time for the movie. I'm just going with the information that I've been given. So it seemed that they were taking advantage of her older sister's status and maybe not raising this baby the way that they should have. So with that in mind, my thought is one look at Jareth in them leggings, and I don't know if I could physically leave the labyrinth. I'm not sure if I could. So why don't I stay in the labyrinth and raise Toby? Because the goblins like him. You know, like they were doing the magic dance with him. They were taking care of him. I think that you could have both. You could have Jareth and Toby. Why not? Yeah, that's my final answer. That was a quickie. Okay. You remind me of the babe. All right. What do we have? Positive life experiences. I'm lucky enough to have lots and lots of positive life experiences, and I'd like to think it's because every morning when I wake up, I make the choice to be positive. And that doesn't mean that everything that happens in my day is positive. It's just that even though I can't control everything that happens to me, I can control how I react to it. There are really horrible, terrible things, and they can make me feel horrible, terrible, and that's valid. And I need to feel those feelings, but I don't need to live there. I don't need to wallow in it. So after, a what's the word I'm thinking of? Like an acceptable amount of time, then I look for a solution, or if it's not something that I can fix or um, change, then I move on because I can't beat myself up over things I can't change. That being said, I the number one most amazing positive experience in my life is my kids. Always, always, always. They are my world, have been since they were little. And even on the days that they drive me nuts, they're awesome. They're great humans. I'm very lucky. They're all adults now. And I just really enjoy spending time with all of them because they're so unique and so, like, I don't know, they all have amazing strengths. And I think the fact that they're empathetic and compassionate, to me, that's the biggest thing is whatever occupation you choose, whatever relationships you choose, whatever friendships, as long as everyone's being respected, as long as everyone is age and species appropriate, it's not my business. Like, be happy. Life's too short. So, my kids, number one, Dave, absolutely. I'm so blessed that we met, that we got married, fell in love. He's my best friend. And meeting him, definitely positive experience in my life. And 17 years later, still an extremely positive experience in my life. So for sure, I'm trying to think of actual like experiences, not just people. Um yeah, like I've had so much fun. I've had traveling adventures. I I always laugh when I think about going to La Paz, Mexico with my BFF and the shenanigans we got into there. There was one night because our day consisted of wake up, go lay on the beach till lunch, come in, have lunch, go back on the beach till happy hour, come in, happy hour, dinner, drink till you pass out, rinse, repeat for a week. I gained 10 pounds in a week and it was all pina coladas. I guarantee it. And one night we're out in the hot tub and she starts yelling, "Donde está mi margarita?" And I was like, like, I don't think that the bar is still open. And then she starts yelling, "Donde está mi maleta para mi margarita?" I'm like, "Where's your suitcase for your margarita?" Well, we were so loud and obnoxious that what's the hotel to do? They bring us more drinks. So we're literally in the hot tub with these giant glasses of booze floating around in the hot tub. We figured out they could float. So we finally go back up to the room and we were with our old youth group leader. My parents were so happy that we had a chaperone with us. We carried her up to the hotel room every night. I literally have a picture somewhere of her with the lampshade on her head. It was so funny. Last I knew, she was still friends with the dudes that we met at happy hour. It was hysterical. It was so fun. And my BFF and I went ocean kayaking, and we're out in the channel because La Paz, if you're looking at Baja California in Mexico, there's Cabo San Lucas is down here and La Paz is a little bit north of that. So you have the whole lake. I don't know what that water is called, but it's like there's a giant channel in there. So they said don't sink your kayak because you'll never get it back. It's just gonna go all the. They have like giant ships that come through, so it's very very deep. So we're out kayaking and we come up to this buoy. It's like all the rocks, like covered in bird poop with the big buoy on it. And we hear this like, what the hell is that? We're like kayaking a little closer and there's like these black things sticking out of the water and you just hear, we're like, what the hell is that? And we get a little bit closer. We realize it's sleeping sea lions. And what we're seeing sticking out of the water are fins and noses, and they're snoring. And we were like, let's get out of here before they decide that we're something to play with and we wind up in the bottom of the channel. But that was really fun. And I went to Hawaii with my BFF too, and we had a blast there. I was able to go to the UK and I went to Scotland, England, and Wales, and that was amazing. I would go back to Edinburgh in a heartbeat. I absolutely love that city. I love the vibes, the energy. It was really just a cool place. And I think my favorite part of that was going to Edinburgh Castle, this amazing fortress on the top of the hill that has this sign on it that says protected by ADT. That just made me laugh. So I'm like, how long has this castle been here? It's protected by ADT. But that was fun. I'm glad I did a lot of those trips when I was younger because especially right now, I would not want to fly, like, especially not out of the country. It's a little cuckoo bananas right now. So I'm glad I had all of those positive experiences. Got to see some really cool stuff and meet some really cool people. So those are positive experiences. I don't know why this popped into my head, but I was just thinking getting to go to summer camp when I was little. There's a camp in the Pine Barrens, and every summer my mom would volunteer a few weeks as the camp nurse, and my dad would volunteer to do a week of video camp. I think it was originally film camp, and then when videotape became a thing, he did that. And so one year they did music videos and it was all like Christian bands because this was a Christian camp. And I remember I was too little to go to video camp, but I got to be like the director's kid, and hang out. And I know my older brother went and his friend went to camp that week. And there was like, what the hell was it called? I forget what it was called, but it was just like, you could do, it was like water guns and water balloons and like everything was down at the lake. So it was all like having fun swimming and doing all that kind of stuff. There was a tech week. There was, I'm trying to think what else. And some were just like regular camp weeks. They didn't have a theme. But then when I was 18, I got to be a counselor at that camp too. And there's just so many years of fun at that camp. And we would go camping on the ball field Memorial Day weekend and Labor Day weekend where you could bring tents or campers or whatever and just hang out on the ball field. And there was a whole group of us that would go every year. So I have some really great memories of that too, growing up. And yeah, so that just popped into my head because now that camp is being sold and it hasn't been an open, active camp the way that I went to it for a few years now. And I don't know if it's because of a lack of advertising or people don't send their kids to week-long camp anymore. It's either all summer or day camp. I'm not sure, but it made me very sad because I have so many memories there and, so many Jersey Devil stories, that I had those from Girl Scout camp too. But there's definitely fun growing up in the Pine Barrens with all of the spooky stories and stuff. So cool. All right. I went on a tangent there. I love focusing on the positivity. So I could mention a ton more positive experiences because That's what I like to reminisce on. Focus on that, not on the bad stuff. All right. Wheel of stuff. All right. We have ghost stories. Ooh. All right. It's so funny. We're down to two. So I already mentioned camping in the Pine Barrens, and that automatically brings spooky stories, ghost stories. Sorry, Tatiana. If you're new here, Tatiana is what we say as kind of a toast. So you can take a sip of whatever it is you're drinking or take a smoke, whatever you like to do. It can be alcohol, it can be just water, like I'm drinking right now. Okay, back to the stories at hand here. So Pine Barrens ghost stories, I like to think of the ones that we used to tell the campers, true or not. And I loved Three Fingered Willie was the story that would scare the bejesus out of the campers. So Willie was the camper, but he was a bad camper because he didn't listen to the counselors. And one time he went by the lake and they told him not to go in the lake. It wasn't time, they weren't swimming or whatever. And he did anyway. And he went in the deep end, and one of the counselors ran out to the dock to look and see if they could see him. And all they could see was his hand sticking out of the water. So they went to pull him out and they grabbed his fingers, and just his fingers came off, and his other three fingers just went under the water. And now he haunts the camp. So if you're not good campers, Three Fingered Willie's going to get you. And what you do is, while you're telling the story, you have another counselor outside of the cabin, so that when you're like, and if you don't listen to your counselors, Three Fingered Willie's going to get you. And then the counselor outside goes like this on the window with the three fingers, and all the kids scream. So that's a classic ghost story. I don't believe there was ever any Willie. Maybe there was. There's always a few kids that don't listen. But I don't remember any other camp ghost stories like that off the top of my head. Real ghosts, though, I have a few that live here. One being my husband's first wife, who passed away in 2005. I see her. She kind of goes in waves. Like, I'll see her for a little bit and then I don't see her anymore. So, but she's nice. So I just say hi and go on with my day. Also, his brother, I know, has been a visitor, but I have not seen him in a long, long time. Most recently, though, I was down in the basement and Dave was with me, and I was grabbing something out of the freezer, and I didn't realize he was on the whole other side of that part of the basement where the washer and dryer are. And this is 15 feet probably away from each other. And I felt him, like when somebody goes by you and they put their hand on your back, like behind, like going like that. So I said, I'm sorry. And I turn around and he's across the room from me. And I was like, somebody just put their hand on my back. I felt it like you do when somebody's, going behind. And he's like, I know, I saw you react. And I'm just like, that was new, because usually I don't see or sense people in the basement. I have a couple times, but not very often. And we don't know who that would be, because most of the activity's on this level. So it's very strange. But as long as they're nice, join the party, Another time was in college. We had a ghost in the dorm room, and I don't know why my roommate and I both thought it was a little boy, which is odd. But we both had that kind of feeling. And he was just mischievous. He would just hide things from us. I would have, because we had a bathroom on the dorm floor. It wasn't like, now a lot of dorms have their own bathrooms. It was like the community bathroom for the whole floor of the dorm. So you'd have your little basket of stuff, go down, get your shower and all. So I had my lotion on my desk, and I came back from the shower. My roommate was away, so we were the only two people with keys. I come back and the lotion's gone. I'm like, are you serious? It was all the way in the back of my closet on the shelf. Like, it didn't float itself up there. Stuff like that. You know, you'd go to look for something and it'd be moved. But we used to say he would communicate through incense smoke because, like, it was the 90s. We had incense burning constantly. I still do. But, you know, in the dorm room. And it would come, you know, like I'd be talking to the ghost and the smoke would work its way to me and I'd say, no, no, go see, you know, my roommate. And the smoke would literally turn and go to her. And one time we had a friend come over that hadn't been in the room before and the incense was burning. And she walked in and the smoke went against the wind because the window was open. So it like went the opposite way of the wind blowing from the cross breeze. And we were like, no, no, it's okay. She's nice. And it like turned around and went to her. Creepy. Oh, and the other thing that he did was I bought one of my besties the Queensryche Empire CD for Christmas and put it in the boombox. It would not play Silent Lucidity and it would not play Anybody Listening. It kept skipping those tracks. And we would play the end of the song before it and it would skip the track. Or we would put it directly on the track and it wouldn't play it. It would go to the next song. So it was in the middle of whatever that I don't remember the set order anymore, but it was in the middle of whatever was the song after it. And I'm like, could we please hear Silent Lucidity? And it started playing. Very odd. So that was our dorm room ghost. And I know I have more because I've always been very sensitive. I'm like getting chilly billies talking about it. It's so funny. I'm trying to think of another. Oh, when I lived in what's now my ex's house when we were together, we used to joke about Dr. Porter because the people that we bought the house from had it built in 1974. So it was, you know, their house. And he died when they were in the middle of a nasty divorce. So we were always like, she killed him, you know, like, and we have no basis for that at all, except for our own entertainment with it. So one day I had this curio and on top of it, I had a candle that looked like a mug and it was back on the top of the curio. It wasn't on the edge. And I just watched it jump off and onto the floor and smash. And I'm like, come on. So of course I blamed him. You know, and it was another ghost that liked to hide things. I went to to go to work and I always had my keys hanging on the key thing. Like that's the habit. You come in, you put them up, like always. Looked, tore the whole house apart. It was in a bag up in a cabinet on a shelf, like completely nowhere I would have even been. I'm like, Dr. Porter. But yeah, there was the smash of the candle. Oh no, the other ones happened here. A picture frame flew off the wall and it had one of those hangers that is the claws, you know, and then it had a nail with a head on it, so it couldn't just slide off. And the nails were still in the wall. It went like, I don't know why ghosts throw things. Just write a note. Leave me a post-it. A ghost-it. Ghost-it notes. Don't take it. I'm copywriting that right now. Oh my gosh, that would be so cute. I'm gonna try and write it down. Is this the pen that wasn't working? Yeah, this is the dead. Oh, okay. Writing it down because I'll forget. But yeah, I know I've had more experiences, but those are the ones that I can think of right now. So let's see what else we have in the wheel of stuff. Got 2 left. These are a few of my favorite things to collect. Alrighty. So most of you, if you have known me for any length of time, you know that I love cows and I collect cow things. I recently took, I don't even know how many cow things out of my hutch that I'm going to part with because we need the room for other things. And even with that, I have a whole bunch of cow stuff. So in my kitchen, on top of all of the kitchen cabinets, I have plushy cows, like stuffies. I have salt and pepper shakers out the yin yang. Um, I love to collect cow parade. If you're unfamiliar with cow parade, it is an art exhibit that shows up in cities worldwide, and they're cow-sized statues, and they're decorated in different ways, and then they sell replicas that are about yay big. So I know I have like one from New Orleans that looks like a skeleton. I have a patchwork one. I have the Moo Jersey Diner, and it's like a diner counter with the little bar stools and like the cow. And I have like a green cheese looking moon with a cow. That's a cow parade. I have the Wizard of Oz collection. I have all of the characters from that, but they're in the cows, like they're cow versions. And I have a Valentine's Day one. I have several. I love those. There used to be a collection called Mary Moo. I think it's Mary's Moo Moos. And they were so cute. And I've got like the Valentine's ones, and I have the Thanksgiving ones, and the Easter and the Christmas. But then they started getting sponsored. So, like, you couldn't get one that wasn't John Deere. And it's like, okay, cute, but I don't want all of them to have a tractor. Like, I don't, or like Coca-Cola or whatever. That's when I stopped collecting them. But the ones that I have, I love. Sorry, I had to cross my legs. My back hurts. Those are kind of like the collectibles, like name brand collectibles that I have. But I do love like I know I'm nowhere near Johnny and Annie, but I love my Funko Pops. I have several of those. And Squishmallows, I've gotten a bunch. I'm looking at Wilford right now, he's like a buffalo. And I actually have one that Johnny bought me up in New York City over there. And it's like a red dinosaur, different dinosaur from the dinosaur conversation. I have Chanel, who I call Channel, who's a big cinnamon bun. I don't even know who I have. Oh, I have a little cow one that I call Cicero because he's cute. Back to the Chicago references. So I have quite a few of them, and a lot of things that I have that are like that. Oh, you know what? I'm going to pause this. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I just about had a heart attack. So I went out to the hutch. I was like, oh, wait, I can show you guys the cows that started my cow collection. And I went out to the hutch where my, cow parades and all that are. They weren't in there. And my heart hit the floor. I'm like, where did they go? They were just up on the shelf right there. Dumbass me. Okay, so down the shore in, I believe it was 4th grade, I got these guys out of the crane machine. So they are Salt and Peppa. They've got their cool sunglasses on because this would have been like 1984-ish. And they've got their towels. They're ready to go down, get on the beach in their Speedos. But these are the 2 original cows in my cow collection. So I have so many cow things now. I appreciate all of the cow things that everyone has ever gotten me because they know I love cows, from mugs to the salt and pepper shakers to clothes to earrings to everything. I appreciate it all because I just think they're so cute. But I can't believe, oh my God, my heart sank. I was like, there's no way that I would have gotten rid of Salt and Pepper. And I didn't, because Salt and Pepper's here. Yeah, so these are the original cows in my cow party gang. So that's awesome. And up on my shelf, I wish I had faith in my webcam that I could get it back in the spot after I take it out. I just know I will F everything up if I do it. But right up there, it's a coin bank, and it's a cow behind another cow. That was a gift many years ago from my BFF. And now that my kids are older, I can have it out on display because it's my polecast room and I can do what I want. So those are the things that I collect. That's the majority of things. I do love crystals. I don't know that I necessarily collect them. This was beautiful gift from one of my besties for my 50th birthday. I love it. Love it. Love it. But yeah, as far as things that I have a collection of, there's lots of things that I have accumulated, but they're not necessarily a collection. So that is that. So the last thing was a question that I was going to ask. I wonder if it'll spin with one. It will. That's hilarious. I wasn't sure. Where's the applause? Oh, there it is. Okay. I didn't know if it would still clap for the last one. Now there's an empty wheel. So this was a question that I had for everyone. And remember, you need to put your answers in the comments too. What do you collect? Give me your ghost stories. We've talked about them a little bit on previous episodes, but I always love hearing your stories and whatever the other ones were that were on the wheel, because the wheel doesn't have them on there anymore. I can't go back and check. But I do have the doc, so I can check. It is. All right. So we have ghost stories, positive life experiences, favorite toys as a kid, 3 drinks you would serve at a speakeasy, favorite things to collect, and labyrinth, will you stay with Jareth or return Toby? Those are the questions. Let's see if I got that right. Yeah. Stay with Jareth or save Toby. And I say, why not both? Okay. So this question I was thinking about recently. I know when we were little, we being people my age and before, um, there was always this thing about respecting your elders no matter what. And with my kids, it's kind of like I've told them, that you should be respectful in how you talk to people, but that doesn't mean that you have to respect the person if they are not a good person. Like, you have to have your own boundaries. Like, I really don't agree with the whole, like, come here and kiss your aunt, and the kid doesn't want to kiss you and you're like forcing them to, like, you should respect your kids not feeling comfortable with somebody and maybe try and delve into why that is. You know what I mean? And so my question is, do you believe in a flat respect your elders policy no matter what? Or do you believe that elders are fallible too and that you need to give respect to get respect? Because I've kind of, there's always, like I said, you can be respectful in how you deal with someone. I'm not saying that you should disrespect as far as communicating your feelings. I think if you can respectfully say why you don't respect someone, that can go pretty far, rather than turning it into something aside from their bad behavior. Because once you lose the ability to communicate in a way that, like, to me, I'm very reactionary when someone has done something that is hurtful or, I hate to say disrespectful to me, but like, it's true though. If somebody is um lashing out, I tend to be reactionary, and I'm trying to learn to take a step back and respond by maybe asking questions, because then it takes it's not an accusation, it's a question. Because when you lash out, that gives them something to latch onto, and that's all that they're going to focus on rather than looking at themselves. That's how I take it. But I was just curious what you guys thought about that, because, like I said, it's been on my mind. And I think I'll bring this up again on a live so that we can have more of a conversation about it. But if you just want to put like a quick answer of, you know, no, that's how you should be all the time, no matter what, or if it's yes, you should be able to have boundaries with people. And, like if somebody's not earned your respect, then they shouldn't be given it just because of their age. That's my thought. Because, like, especially out in public, there's people that, like, if I'm nice to everybody until you give me a reason not to be. But, like, if you're, like I said, if you're behaving badly, I don't think you get a pass. I don't know. This is a big subject to bring up last. Thanks a lot, Wheel of Stuff, for picking this one last. But like I said, we will talk about this again. Oh, God, my back is jacked up, on another podcast. But I'm going to wrap this one up with reminding you that you can get your copy of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, How a Preacher's Daughter Pole Danced Her Way to Finding Her True Self. You can get your copy at learnedingogo.com, paperback or ebook. And if you get a signed copy, you get free personalization from me. You get free shipping in the US. You get a free super cool bookmark that comes with a QR code for easy sharing. And you also get a free compilation playlist of songs that I mentioned in the book, songs I used to dance to, and songs that I was currently using for my dance workouts until I got injured and hopefully will be using again soon. So thank you for hopping on this episode of Learned in Go-Go, the podcast. I'm sorry it wasn't live, but I appreciate you hopping on and joining me and putting all of your answers in the comments. I hope that you did, because I can't wait to read them. And just remember that sometimes life can throw some hard times at you. And when it does, you have to hit those troubles head on, because when you stick your head in the sand, you might think you're avoiding your problems, but the rest of the world just sees a big ass. Love ya.